3, 2, 1.
Oh, nice.
Ole!
Ole.
That sounded pretty crisp.
Previously on the Moonchild.
Hi, Bridget.
You have the heart, don't you, Mel?
Yeah, I do, David.
Oh, it's just wonderful to see you.
I just rush, try and give her a quick hug.
And it will protect you. Only you can be there with Marie.
All right, I'll go.
This is chaos. We've really fucked things up.
No, I love it. I love it.
The goddess. She tells me these things.
Watch out for the lobster, girls. Bum, bum, bum.
She gives you a big kiss on the side of your cheek.
It's great to see you, Bridget.
Could you give me a power roll?
Say hello, Ramen.
We've got vegan sausages.
I look down at these fat, sizzling sausages.
Start to move like living penises.
I'm wearing trousers.
Would that be all right if Sarah was here?
Enough, Ray. Enough.
I apologise.
There have now been a lot of references to cooking.
You pick up the metal pan.
Something yeast, what's it called?
There is
Proactive yeast.
the face of Elliot, the drug dealer, inside.
What is that? What?
Sentient yeast.
Everything's going to be fine. We'll all have dinner and it'll be lovely.
I don't want to spin
You
round.
see a man with a book walk upstairs. He's in a tweed suit.
David?
He's not quite fully formed. Is everything all right?
No. What does Michael wear? Does he wear a lot of tweed?
He looks frightened. He says, is he up there now?
David, who are you worried about being upstairs?
The man with the golden spectacles.
Why are we not talking about this?
Michael?
I'm going to be right behind him.
Eric?
We follow.
Or you could take a cheeky line or a little pill.
I open up the packet of what I think is coke.
It's as if Maggie Stern has just walked in.
Do you speak Dutch?
Why are you in so much pain?
Why are you falling apart, Maggie?
It all feels too real.
Schiphol to Norwich, arriving 9:30.
Have you had intruders recently?
His name's Redmark. He was a dabbler.
Maybe a bit too fast for the top of the stairs.
I thought he'd left us alone. And you just kick Bridget full in the chest as she comes around the corner of the stairs.
My first protocol will be the desk.
You can see a number of occult books.
You're under some sort of spell.
She looks up in fear.
Not knowing why I'm doing it, I dig my thumbnail into her
A
scarf.
few flakes of snow come down between the two of you.
I'm going to look around to see if I can reconnect with where I think I should be.
"'Tis not my fault. It was the Prince of Air."
Michael, is that you? We need to come in.
Is that Captain Howdy?
Stop having sex!
You recognize the face.
You don't impress me.
Come and see the wonder.
I've been to Beccles.
Almost as if she's making love to the thin air.
I try and grab its tongue.
Do I see the tongue wrapped around the arm?
There's something inside him. I'll pull it out of the boy.
Like a tug of war.
This spray of red and white and black cancerous matter.
Holy fucking Christ.
You take your thumb out and you think, what is the recipe?
I'll stop there.
And you suck the blood.
Don't worry, Bridget. I'll stop there.
And you taste it and you think, what is it that I'm missing?
I'm stuffed. I couldn't have another drop.
What does my body need?
Ray, it's getting weird in here.
You both think the same thing. Possession. The Apocalypse Players present The Moonchild by Paul Fricker, a 7th edition Call of Cthulhu Scenario from the Nameless Horrors collection. Starring Dominic Allen as Alicia Juico, Danann McAleer as Ray West, Jeany Spark as Melinda Moody, Dan Wheeler as Erik Wilson, and Joseph Chance as your keeper of the arcane lore. I'd like to cut over before we complete Alicia's exciting discoveries.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I'd like to cut over live to our woman in David Barber's car.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Mel Moody.
So you got in the car and you were feeling how are you feeling?
I was feeling quite unhappy with the situation, but also compelled to follow instructions, to follow suggestions. I think in my guts, my instincts were saying something's wrong here, but it does seem like the best course of action.
Yeah. I mean, also the fact that he'd directly mentioned the heart, I think seemed to change everything for you, even if he's lying or deceiving himself or...
Yeah, I think it hasn't surprised me that he's mentioned it. It's unsettling but not surprising. Like so much of what we've been going through. But I think it has reminded me that what we're going to be going through tonight is not a normal evening in Norwich.
For once.
What is,
though? In all truth, down the lanes on a Thursday night around 9 p.m.
Normal for Norwich.
Normal for Norwich.
Normal for Norwich.
Anything could be happening.
Literally anything.
Ah, yes. 'Tis a storied place. That's the wool trade for you.
That's the adjective you can use, sure.
Sure. Makes good stories. I think there's that moment where you're just sitting in a car and everything seems so weirdly real. And time is just ticking by and you think, this is taking too long. And then Angelica comes out, round the corner, holding herself, looking like a moment of rejection has possibly happened, at least in her own mind. And she goes to the front seat and she pulls the car door open and slumps into the seat and goes, "Fine. Let's go."
Okay.
I suppose he's right. And she absent-mindedly puts her seatbelt on.
That's good.
Absent-mindedly. She carefully puts her seatbelt on, but almost as a last thought, I think is what I mean.
And now, do I know where I'm going? How familiar am I with this route?
I think it's fair to say that Murray's address was given to you by David.
Okay, cool.
I should have added that in, possibly. We'll put that in post.
They didn't.
And how long is the drive?
Oh, it's not far at all. Follow the ring road down, cross the two main roundabouts, past the fudge shop. I mean, you'll be resist if you can. It's late night opening on a Friday.
Is it?
No, it'll be a Thursday, actually. In Norfolk, it's always Thursday. So then go down to the roundabout, past the Roman Catholic Cathedral, down to the main roundabout, cross the river, skirt the main centre, and then you've got the turn off to Magdalen Street, not Magdalen, Magdalen Street, and the Odeon. Ignore that, turn right by the old puppet factory, and then weave in to the
puppet factory.
Yeah.
Sorry, not the old puppet factory, the old puppet theatre.
Sorry, the new puppet factory.
The old puppet factory.
Did I say factory? Did I say factory? Don't give the finale away.
Thomas Ligotti's wet dreams.
On the subject.
Oh, the old puppet factory.
I love the fact that Mina the cat has been summoned by the mere mention of Puppet Factory. Defend. I must defend.
For the benefit of the listeners, I now have a very needy cat on my lap, which is not a euphemism, it's simply the truth. So any weird noises may or may not be my pet felines production.
Sure.
The old puppet factory as well makes it so much worse. There's a new puppet factory and a new way of making puppets, but this is the old way.
This is the old
It's the old
With
puppets.
with skin harvested in the traditional methods. Just like the old way of making tennis rackets. Mina the cat.
Yet another scenario. I think it's probably only 10 minutes if the traffic's bad and 5 minutes if it's easy. So, which on a Friday night at this time of night, it might be a little bit busy, but I suppose there is a choice here for you.
Yes.
Do you want to go to Mari Cubine's house?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Because the Odeon's right there.
And I suppose it's a doubly weird experience because, you know, the last time we were deeply involved in any of this stuff, I was 20, I was closer to Angelica's age than my age now. And now I'm also feeling a debt of a debt of care towards this teenage girl. So it's quite a weird sort of double... Sorry, the cat's really having a go at the microphone. Double, sort of seen through a double lens. But yeah, I think I'm keen to get away from all of these men and like get to a place of female perspective.
There was certainly something of a suggestion of that with the, you must go to Marie and then the three of you could be there.
Yeah.
And I think maybe you remember David saying that, and David looked at Alicia when he sort of said it as well, as if to say, look, I know that, and maybe there was something of that fact that Alicia pushed to say, well, maybe I should go with her.
Yeah, which she did, yeah.
That is underscoring that wasn't being ignored. I don't think any of them ignored that.
No. But with the sort of the heavy influence of David and then the golden spectacled man appearing, I'm like, I just want to get away.
And also, I think in the background, this sort of weird... I mean, you picked up on the fact that someone made a joke about, or someone sort of made this sort of comment, and you could see that Erik was suffering in some way. He kept sort of touching himself, and through this lobster apron that he was wearing, because he'd been enlisted to do some cooking. Allagash, the Bunyan's lobster poutine from their East Coast road trip that they had a couple of years back.
That's the good stuff.
It is the good stuff.
That's the good stuff.
Some interesting radio warnings you sometimes get about the new things that they trial, but that was mostly in the 70s, and they cleared all that up, right?
That's from the old factory.
Oh, that's from the old factory, the old poutine factory.
The lawsuits have all been settled out of court.
Under new management, yeah.
So are you going to head off?
Yes, we're going to head off.
There's a sniff as you drive, and you see her look back at the house, and then she turns to you and she says, I suppose it's the right thing. No, it is the right thing, isn't it? There's no suppose about it.
What's the right thing?
What he said. This isn't the right realm. Well, now is not the time to deal with this realm. I think he meant the real, didn't he?
What does that mean to you, Angelica? What does the realm of the real, and not dealing with it now, what does that mean to you?
She stares ahead, and the lights of passing traffic are reflected through the glass, and you sort of see little lights playing across her. And she says, I suppose I just sometimes feel like when I'm with him, it feels more real, you know? I don't mean that stuff. I don't mean... I mean before and after. I mean when he talks to me about what he's discovered and what he's seen. And the books he's read.
I think Mel looks at Angelica and really sees her for the first time and says, I know exactly what you mean, Angelica. I understand.
She nods and goes a bit quiet, and she swallows hard, as if she's sort of choking back a moment of just wanting to sob, maybe, and sort of stares out of the window a bit, starts fiddling with her fingers on the dashboard. Retrospectively, Alicia, did you say what Marie had texted, or had you kept all of that to yourself?
Oh God, I can't remember.
And the listen through that we never said. So
I can choose.
Would you? You can choose. I think because I've said that there was a moment of the address was handed over. There could have been preparatory. Oh look, by the way, I've said to Marie, or maybe you said nothing.
No, I think I'd have been. I think as long as David wasn't in earshot or Bridget, I think I'd have said exactly what was said.
Could have dashed to the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
And said, anything extra? Did you say anything extra? Maybe your mind flicks back to this. Maybe your mind flicks back to this as your cat tries to hypnotize you towards sleep. Not Kirk sleep, just sleep.
Although he's probably there too.
Can you imagine if one of Kirk Sleep's powers was to use cats to hypnotize others to bring them... Anyway, no, we won't go down that path.
That's a game for next year.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sleep's cats.
Catnap.
Alicia, did you say anything in particular?
Oh God, I probably. What were the messages she said? I can't.
She said that she mentioned she started with that one about the table. No, send her here. I have the table, and you said we're going to have dinner with David, and you said, great, do that. Bring everyone afterwards.
So I probably caught her at the door and said, or text her if she'd already left. She hadn't already left at that point.
No. Let's say you're catching her at the door.
And I just said, I've texted, and she said you've got to go there because she's got the table. She's used capital letters. I don't know what she's on about, but it must be. I guess it's a ritual table, right? Anyway, I said we're going to have dinner with David. She said, yeah, we'll come afterwards. Bring everyone afterwards. So I guess we'll sort. You get going. Find out what the table business is. Do whatever she says. We'll be right there. If it gets weird, we'll not be long behind you. Because I don't really want to stay at David's for too long. I mean, I don't know how weird it's going to get here. I mean, we'll find out, I guess.
Gonna get freaky.
So you're possibly remembering that moment as the sort of the last moment of connection to the house as you drive down the little ring road area, and it's properly dark now. It's 6:45, and you cut into this odd mix as you come off the ring road bit past the old puppet theatre. And round into it's a really odd mix of old churches, flint and stone churches, really old buildings, and some really new buildings. It's like and it's all just it's close to the river, but it's on the outside of the river line, so not on the cathedral close side of things, not in the historic centre. And you even see the White Lion from a distance as you pull up outside Mari's address.
Very good.
Unless you make any changes.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy with the plan proposed. I'm still turning over in my mind what Alicia told me about the table. I'm feeling a sense of slight nervous panic, but also kind of ready to face whatever we have to face. A sense of fatalism. We're here. Something's been set in motion. Things are happening. Shit's getting weird. And now I have this teenage girl who I feel responsible for, kind of along for the ride, and let's just say yes to everything and keep going and see what happens.
Brilliant. Let's say it's apartment 4B. Well, no, it's not apartment 4B. It's a house. It's a modern build. Perhaps not as modern as some. This one might have been built in the 80s. You realise? It's got quite fashionable sort of retro fittings, very minimalist front garden area, quite stylishly appointed, but definitely has that sort of retro edge, and it's in quite dark colours. Those houses that have those sort of plastic red bands that run the length as a sort of single decorative line, like an architectural nudge, like the suggestion of we're just not like another house around here. And the one on the other side, next to it, or it's detached, but the one over there has like a zigzag attached, like an 80s throwback zigzag kind of thing. And you just think, oh, it's so marine. It's so, like, really well placed, but sort of fucking frustratingly so. It's also carefully done. She's now a bank manager. Certainly, other than Erik, she's the most financially secure of everyone.
Oh, financially secure.
And she always has perfect hair. Not beautiful hair like Maggie.
Perfect hair.
But it's perfectly cut.
Oh no.
And you're thinking about that and how frustrating it is, and yet how good she is at bringing people together in a place and making sure that they're okay. She was always good at that. She could sometimes be a bit cold, but yeah, she was always good, weirdly, at facilitating.
Was it the financial security or the perfect hair that gave her that power?
Only you can know that.
Or was it the way that the stars aligned on the two of them coalescing together.
Coalescing.
Gotta be that.
Angelica says, "What are you thinking?"
Oh, fucking hell, Angelica. Well, I'm thinking about this gesturing to the house. This is so fucking Mari. This is so her. It's so clean edged. Have you met her before?
Yeah.
Okay.
David introduced us.
And what did you make of her when you met her?
She can be a bit of a cold fish, can't she?
Yes, she can. That's very good observation.
I mean, my mum is mad, but at least she can be warm.
That's a good observation as well. You've got the good makings of a detective, Angelica, or maybe a journalist. You've got a good way with words and a good eye.
She looks a bit surprised by that, as if you've sort of said something that she'd never even considered. She says, I'd have to do better at school, I suppose.
No. There's other ways in. You don't have to be book smart to do either of those jobs, but you do have to have what you've got for free, a good eye and a good way with words.
Don't even have to have that, actually, to be honest.
No, you don't. That's true, you don't.
Journalism, I think you just have to have the right friends, I think.
She looks down at her hands, which are sort of in her lap, and she... There have been several moments where the mask has fallen away, and it feels like the mask is falling away, but you can't quite work out why. It feels really different this time. She looks at her hands and she goes, "Sometimes I think about my potential. I really do. Sometimes it's...
Your potential?
Yeah, sometimes I just think about... Well... Anyway, when was the last time you did a seance? Is that what you're going to do?"
Wow. A seance?
David said you used to do them.
Yeah, we did back in the day. I mean, there was...
John read the cards and you did the seance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There's not a lot that we didn't do in terms of spiritual engagement, but I've not run a seance as a medium for 20 years maybe. I don't even know if that's what we are going to do tonight, but I think you should be prepared. If you've not been to a seance before, I think you should be prepared that tonight could get a bit lively.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I suppose we better go in then.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose at least then maybe something will happen.
Yeah, something will happen. Something's always happening, Angelica. It doesn't, just because there's not big bells and whistles on it, doesn't mean that things aren't happening. Remember that.
She smiles and slips her hand into the latch for the door, pushes the door open, steps out, starts to go around. I mean, against all odds, there was a parking space nearby. That is the least believable thing that I could possibly have said of that part of Norwich, but okay.
Do a reality check, actually.
But Mel on approach to a car park, or knowing that she's going to have to park up, she often does do a little prayer or a little request to the parking gods. Says, "Can you get me a space just in front of where I need to be, please? Thank you."
And would I be right in thinking that your parking style is the polar opposite of Alicia's?
Oh yeah.
Which was inch perfect, painstakingly 37 adjustments, as I seem to recall, on the off the unthanked road.
My Mel's approach to parking is a lot like Jeany's approach to putting up a picture.
Good call on your own self there.
Which is have a bit of a look at it. Maybe draw a little dot on the wall with a pencil if I'm feeling very careful. No measuring, no tape measures, no nothing.
2007 are you talking about?
No, I'm talking 2023.
I've never seen you use a pencil. Anyway.
And then just bang a nail in, hope for the best.
Yeah, I think if all the lights go out.
And what happens to your hearing in that moment? When, do you ever hear voices?
What, when I'm parking or when I'm hanging up a picture?
I meant hanging up a picture. Or parking.
Do I ever hear voices when I'm...
Yeah, like male voices going, "What, aren't you going to measure that? Is it a bit low? Have you checked which kind of nail we're using for that wall?
For the benefit of our viewers, Joseph and I are husband and wife, and the way that I put up a picture infuriates him.
No, I love it.
But also liberates me into a great sense of freedom.
It's liberating. It is absolutely liberating, and that's the way you park.
The way Mel parks the car.
She only gets out of the car, by the way, after you've parked, just in case anybody is thinking, and then you run over Angelica, because that's
just so that
tragic.
you know, Mel always goes into a parking space arse first. Never nose first, always arse first. she likes. You like to go past it, pull up alongside with the screecher brakes, the car in front, or maybe even two cars in front, and then gun it into reverse, and then just fucking go for your life and hope for the best, and then we're done.
Nice.
On this podcast, going arse first is a tradition. So
it has to happen at least once a scenario.
Yeah. To Lady Bjana Potts.
The lady.
Oh, yeah.
To her good health.
And a big bum.
Killer bum. So you go around. And is it fair to say that you go to the door, or would you like to
Arse of glory.
do anything else?
What have I got? What's on show?
Angelica sort of wanders around the front of the car and heads towards the door, obviously knowing this place.
Have we got a front room window looking onto the road? Any windows that I can have a little...
Let me give you an exact and minute description.
The bespectacled men looking out of
we don't-
the window.
Wait, hang on. How much Google Street View have you done? This is...
As previously... Actually, I have used Google Street View for this location. For this location, I had to, because I was thinking, I know this part of town, but do I know it well enough? Now I know it well enough. Yeah.
That's very creepy. You should
Too creepy, right?
Edit
Too creepy.
that out of the final
Cut that.
episode.
So there's
Sorry, everyone.
there's fencing on the right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
A path leads up to a small porch, juts out of the building. 2 windows on the ground floor. There's a first floor as well. A few artfully placed bushes, an improbably well-kept olive tree included in that, and there's a sort of almost Japanese quality to how neatly kept. There's lots of stone and pebble sweeps around the bushes on the floor, and there's sort of really well-kept grass. It looks almost too verdant.
Is there meaning to the sweeps?
Could even be astroturf. I think.
Not astroturf.
It's not, but it's that sort of rich and plasticky. You know that kind of grass that you can get for grass that is sort of really Southeast Asian kind of bladey grass. Yeah.
Lady.
Lovely paving stones. The sweeps. Yeah, you do get a vague sensation of sort of circular motion. You'd have to know her to recognise that could be the old influence of you all.
I was going to say, are there any signs or symbols?
Yeah, we suggest the goddess. Is that the goddess at work? Little concentric circles, and because it suggests Zen, but it isn't. You know that from a glance. It does make you think of Maggie and how much Maggie would really enjoy this. Maggie and Marie had a special bond. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
Because for all of Maggie's difference in style, she too can be quite cold.
Is there any way to peek through either of the 2 windows on the ground floor before hitting the front door without looking like a total creep?
You would have to use some of your investigative journalist skills, and there is, of course, Angelica to consider.
Oh, no.
But you tell me...
She's a budding investigative journalist in the making.
What do you think? Jeany, do you want to try and sneak
Yeah, I do.
over?
Yeah.
Do you want to go left or right? Oh, and of course, it's a detached building. You could sneak around the house if you really wanted to.
No, I'm okay. I'm good. I don't need to know what's going on in the back passage, if you pardon the expression. But I'm... if there's any...
Please.
If there's any information to be gleaned by a quick peek through the living room window in the style of the typical... The archetypal...
I think you've studied this building carefully, haven't you? You've studied this building carefully.
Yeah, I've had a good look at it.
Could you give me a spot hidden? A spot hidden, and I'm afraid to say I am looking for an extreme success on this.
Oh, I hate you.
Sorry, but
No, it's fine.
you've done good investigative...
I've got a success, but it's not an extreme. I've got a 31 on a 35.
That's galling.
Damn it. That's a lot of luck.
I think what you do see is...
Fucking hell.
this is... I think what you see for that is there's no way Marie does this.
Welcome to my marriage.
There's no way Marie does this. This is all maintained by a gardener.
Ah,
That's what you see.
okay. Interesting.
Someone is employed to do this.
Okay.
Typical
Okay.
Marie.
Yeah, farm it out. Smart girl.
Smart.
Okay. Or interesting. Okay. That'll do, pig.
So, yeah.
Onwards and inwards.
Angelica says, well, should we go in?
Yeah, go on. Give it a knock.
There's a bell. And she presses the bell.
For good measure, Mel knocks on the door.
There's a bit of a delay, and then the door opens, and you see your old friend Mari Cubine, and she says, "Oh, it's so nice to see you. It's just I'm surprised.
Long time, Marie. Long time.
You look well. You look like old Mel. You know, you look like the Mel you've
I look like a
always
fat
been.
fucking mess. I look like a fat fucking mess.
Exactly. You look like you. You look like you.
Yeah, all right. Well, you look sharp as a shark's tooth, as per. So
That's too hard. You're being too hard on yourself. Come in. Could you give me another spot hidden?
what do you want from me? Jesus.
Her hair is immaculate.
Of course.
Tight black bob.
Yeah.
But you know those kind of bobs that cut down to follow the line of the chin?
Yes.
And slightly asymmetrical.
Yes.
Again, a sort of touch of Japanese style. And all of her clothes are clearly from not Uniqlo, but the shop above Uniqlo, with that sort of champagne socialist chic going on.
Issey Miyake.
But not quite that level. She's not quite that
Wait,
level.
hang on, like...
Super dry.
Okay, she's not designer.
She's in the porch.
Moody.
The door is open behind. Moody, that's the one. She dresses in Moody. Thank you.
I have to say, the attention to detail that you give to clothes and, but more importantly, interior design and gardening exterior is...
It's distressing, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's quite magical.
Yeah, careful now.
I usually forget to say if there's a corridor or a door.
I'm bogging you down in the details, and I've got to get to my boys here.
I normally assume they're not going to go to any houses.
Which is fair enough. 45's all the way. So the door behind is open, and she says...
Wait, whoa. I've got a 12.
What'd you get?
I got a 12
Hey.
on my 35.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a hard success, right? So you see her eyes flick to Angelica, and there's a real reaction. And you're not sure why.
We alright, or what?
She goes, "Oh no, yes, of course. Come in. Both of you come in, please. It's... So, Alicia said that you were here, and David said that you might be coming, and this is so exciting. I have the table ready.
Okay,
I
alright.
hope that's not too much.
No,
But I felt it. I felt it.
what?
This is so silly because we've not had any of the conversations we should have about how you are and what you're doing and all of that, but it's so exciting. I'm thrilled. Tea? Vodka?
Tea. Oh, wow. Okay. Gosh, you don't hold back. One of each, please.
Angelica? The door closes and you hear the lock click and you hear no reply from Angelica.
Well, I turn around and look for her immediately.
And a gangly 13-year-old boy looks at you.
No fucking hell.
Lank hair. And says, Vodka me all the way. Vodka, please.
God.
And then he pulls back into the coats, just like he did in the car, and he just disappears into the coats.
Oh, fuck.
But where's Angelica?
And are you going to do anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Burn the house down?
I'm gonna look to Marie. Did she see that? Did she see that?
Marie looks at you with wide eyes
Okay, so she saw it. Great. Okay, brilliant. But then where's Angelica?
and says, I think you better sit down.
But where's Angelica?
And she brings up a gun.
Oh my god.
Oh, fuck.
So
Wait,
we cut.
what? So hang on, so what, she's angling me down to the table?
Well, we're going to cut back to the others.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
So of course, there you were, Alicia. You threw the door open into Michael's room, and Michael, who didn't seem to be quite himself, was hoisting Angelica up by her crotch.
Yeah.
And you'd heard this sort of erotic moment of them. He was absolutely making out on her neck, because he's quite a tall 18-year-old guy. There was something wrong with his face. He looked like he was clean cut hair, quite cool hair, short, sharp hair, a bit of acne on his face. But there was something about his face that reminded you of this 13-year-old boy that you saw back at the Cinema City Cafe. There was sort of shades and shadows, and in the crepuscular lighting of sort of semi-romantic lighting, but also semi-crypt-like lighting of the bedroom. There was this sort of lank hair. In a desperate bid to try to break this moment, you confronted Michael, already suspicious of possession, and Michael, or whatever was inside Michael or was inside Michael, threw Angelica against the wall and said, "Do you want to play?" At which point Ray dashed in as well, because Michael's tongue elongated out of his mouth, wrapped around your arm, burning it, and you felt the tongue blackening and going up your arm, along the line of your wrist, and it got all the way up to your armpit. And in truth, Alicia, you're pretty sure it was trying to head further.
I've dated that guy.
Yeah, damn straight. But Ray came in, grabbed the tongue. He failed his sanity roll, so he just thought the best way of resolving the problem was to pull the thing that had possessed Michael out of him. And the nature of the tongue was particularly dark and disturbing because it was black at the tip and it was black all along the line of your arm as it had wrapped around it like a kind of terrible serpent. But as it went back into his awfully distended, widened mouth, at its sort of where it met Michael's lips, or sort of terribly stretched mouth and lips, it turned into this sort of cancerous pink blistering mass. And so there was a sort of weird logic to what Ray was doing as he wrenched it out of his mouth, but it sprayed ectoplasmic matter across the two of you.
Fucking hell.
Ray was lucky.
Reminds you of anything, Dom?
God.
Is it too much? Scott.
No,
Scott.
carry on.
Hey, Scott. Have we through it? Sorry.
I've got my whiskey. The whiskey really helps, actually.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Surprising.
Whiskey helps with everything.
Oh, God, don't.
On the way in.
I'm tempted already. As the ectoplasmic black matter and pus came out, Ray sort of managed to get just stuff on his body and chest, and Ramen was okay because you'd protected Ramen.
Switched him around to the back.
Yeah, but unluckily, you did. Alicia had some splatter across her eyes, nose, and mouth. And the horrifying fact was that felt very real. And at that exact same moment, there was Erik coming to outside, licking blood off his hand with Bridget. What are you doing to me? What are you doing? Just leave me alone. Outside, and it's not snowing, and you're not in a silver birch grove. And I think it's fair to say, to scene frame, there's a moment of chaos, followed by a moment of reality, whereby the two youngsters are actually dazed and confused, but physically apparently fine. All evidence of this transformation and the sort of lank hair and the elongation of limbs that you also witnessed and the widening of the face, all of that's gone, but the black ichor is stained and is present and is real, apparently. It's a sort of weird residue, and it dries so fast for you, Ray and Alicia, as you're sort of pulling your senses together, that you... Even if your next action is to sort of walk into the kitchen and drink half a bottle of wine and then stab yourself in the face or whatever, you're noticing that it's just disappearing at a crazily fast speed. It's coming off you, drying off you, almost like a kind of chemical comes off.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, outside, Bridget's sort of coming to, but she's sort of staggering back to the door and going, "Oh, we've got to go inside. there's almost a sort of middle-class awareness that this must not happen outside the house because this is just too weird and something's kicking in. But I think even in your post-madness, as it were, Erik, you are aware that the veil has lifted still out here. Whatever you've done has broken some layer. Can't quite name or recognise, but you're still haunted by this, the Prince of Air, which is the bubbling cauldron, Elliot's face in it, those wriggling penile sausages. What the fuck is going on? I'd love to hear from each of you what your first reaction is to all of this.
I think I looking down, the tongue's gone as well. What I pulled.
Yeah, the tongue has immediately disappeared.
So it's literally just the liquid that was sprayed.
Sort of ectoplasmic slime, really.
Right. So I think I do a sort of panicked check of my face and everything, and then I sort of check Ram and make sure he's all right.
He's fine. I mean, he's disturbed, but fine.
My first thing I think is I want to go towards Angelica. Is she still against the wall where she was?
Yeah, she's sort of moaning against the wall and going,
yeah.
What happened, David?
It's all right.
David?
It's all right. Stay back there. Stay back, I say to Michael, I'm assuming.
And Michael's sort of slumped down by the bed and his head's just lolled.
Right.
If anything, he reminds you of someone either coming out of a sort of drunken stupor. But I mean, the first thing that both of you thought was possession. Even more so, if there was a doubt, it's sort of being removed by the way he's just kind of coming out of it.
Yeah,
almost
absolutely.
Like post-epileptic fit or something.
But where's it going? But
he wasn't fitting.
I want to figure out. And, how is this thing transporting from one place to the other? I'm sort of
I think you both saw that the tongue, as it's disappeared, unlike the stuff that's drying, the tongue sort of collapsed in on itself like smoke, like coiled tendrils of smoke, and then just like pitch midnight black smoke and then dissipated.
But it was physical while
It felt incredibly physical to you two, and it burnt your arm as well. Both of you feel the pain in your arm. You can't see any damage.
So there's no burn mark.
You can't see burn marks.
That's what I was going to say. I definitely checked my arm.
Yeah.
And I think I go to David and I say...
back on the landing, yeah.
Yeah, I go out and I say, were you expecting this, David? You were expecting this, weren't you?
He stares at the floor. Like he's still holding himself on the banister of the stairs, and he's trying to get up to look at you, but he's just sort of... And he goes, Is it there? Has it gone?
I grab him by the scruff of whatever he's wearing around his
lapels.
His lapels.
He's got a shirt on and
I grab him and go, you've got to tell us what the fuck's going on now, David. It's getting fucking mental in here.
I think which is a perfect cut down to Erik's reaction.
I think I just look up at Bridget. I look at my own hands, look at her hand. I realise what I've done. I just say,
Who is the Prince of Air, Bridget? The Prince of Air. Who's the Prince of Air?
So she's sort of backing along the wall, afraid of you, clearly, and gets to the lintel of her own door and says, Prince of Air. The Prince of Air. I mean, my occult isn't as good as yours, even. She doesn't say that.
Erik Wilson was provided by the Norwich Old Puppet Factory.
I don't know. I don't understand. Is it David? Did David make you do this?
No. I'm sorry, Bridget. I was somewhere else in the snow in, I don't know, 17th century or something.
You don't need a psychology roll to realise that she recognises something about what you're saying.
Oh.
You've been there too?
For a moment, I thought you were someone else, but you were sort of you, but when you were, I don't know, you were frightening. You looked like you were from a different time. You had a tall hat on with a buckle and this ruff and...
That's it. That's the place.
Oh, God.
That's where I was. That's where they were talking about the Prince of Air.
Oh, God. She suddenly stops and you see her shaking, and it's clearly a mixture of anger and shock. And then she turns and walks in and goes, David! David! And starts storming up the stairs. Which you're free to try to stop her if you want, or like, it's not so fast that you can't.
No, I don't think I will stop her. I think I'd like to just sort of kind of scan the neighborhood to see if anyone has observed what's happened.
Well, in that moment, you remember you just saw Mel draw away, of course, with Angelica in the car.
Yeah.
And you know Angelica is upstairs, so there's this sort of awful realization that comes back to you.
Yeah.
But it's
did I ever make it upstairs?
No, but you saw her go up, and they were still talking about go and get her. And as far as you were aware, she never came down. And you were in that T-junction of the kitchen for a long time, which is the perfect spot in the house.
Okay, so I saw her go upstairs, and then I saw her in the car.
It was impossible. Unless she climbed out of the window and got... I mean, there is that chance. There is that chance.
She did.
So maybe there's that down. Maybe there is that down.
Yeah.
She climbed out the window and went down to Mel, and they dashed off.
And thinking that, I'd probably look up at the window.
No, it's not open. It's October. It's not open.
Oh dear.
But what you do get is that sense, like a car passes. No, it's not even like a car passes. A car passes. And
Thank God for that.
there is an eerie stillness of the reality of things, which, unbeknownst to you, is exactly what Mel Moody felt as she sat in the car looking at that. Those fine Victorian houses, neatly parcelled up on the other side of the road. Nice, well-appointed houses. Expensive. 750,000 we're talking.
Fuck them and their money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, maybe not in Norwich. 650 maybe. No, actually, these days it would be 750. Yeah.
Fuck them and their money.
May I... Do I know anything about the history of this particular place where I am, and whether the strange vision that I had might represent there's something that happened here? Like,
no, you were familiar with the place. Give me an idea roll. You have excellent intelligence, I seem to recall. So I'm going to need a hard idea roll.
Okay. No, just a regular.
You just can't quite pin it down, but you've been there and it was not in town.
Fine.
It's not in a town. You have a very strong and perhaps slightly unsettling sensation.
I mean, obviously...
that it is a place that remains.
I don't imagine it would require a successful roll for me to recall if it was the place where we all went out and cut our hands. It wasn't that place, was it?
Give me a power roll.
Oh dear.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's a fail. I don't know if that's good or bad. I dig my thumb into my own scar like I did with Bridget. I dig it right in.
Yeah.
And I push my power roll.
Nice.
I know I haven't asked you if I can do that.
But no, you don't need to. You asked me. That's a beautiful offer. I'm going to say yes.
Oh dear.
You're going to take that fallen roll. It fell off the table, listeners. It fell off the table.
Remind me of the fumble rules.
96 and above if it's a below 50. 100 if it's above.
Then it's not quite a fumble.
Is it a 99?
It's a failed pushed roll. On a power.
Yeah, but I mean, I think in the interests of, inspired by the D-sanction to fail forward, I think, and your recent visitation, although it's later date, as your thumb goes in and you pierce the skin, in sort of copying what you did, you do feel this rush of connection. And a tendril of black...
Still stained with her blood.
Yes, I think a tendril of blackness comes out of your scar, wrapping around your finger like a worm, like a thread worm. seeking, looking, searching.
God.
But you're not 100% sure if that's a hallucination or the truth. And you jag back into the surreality of the past in the same way that you have that astral image with Maggie Stone where she broke up, almost like graphics disintegrating. You snap into it for a split second and yes, you're right. You're confirmed. That is the place. That's where you went, isn't it? For the ritual. That's where it happened. All those years... And you fall unconscious. Could you lose D10 power for me?
Christ.
It is a temporary loss.
7.
7. You've lost 7 power.
Okay.
It can be regained, and I will make a note. Oh, interesting.
Oh, interesting. No, it can't.
It definitely can be.
It's gone for good. You're totally fucked.
Oh, interesting. Sorry, this is an old money. It's actually 35 power you've just lost.
And that's in real life as well.
So I'm just gonna do one more round here in the Unthanked Road region before returning to the old puppet factory.
Is that a euphemism?
I mean, I was going to say to you potentially, and also to David. So I'll just do it to David. But I think looking at my notes, there was something I forgot to mention in the recap, which I might have just missed. But I think as I help Angelica up, assuming she is helpable,
very much so. Yeah. She seems actually she seems kind of all right, apart from maybe a bit embarrassed.
Yeah. So it's all right now. It's all right. Is she dressed? Or
Yeah. She's still got all of her clothes on. I mean,
okay.
she's slightly dishevelled and
Yeah.
it is slightly distressing because I mean she was basically on the one hand while Michael was doing something to her and it was clearly an erotic encounter, she seemed to be experiencing it with someone else, and I think it's no accident that she said David when she first sort of came out and her eyes were opened and
So I think I'd just lead her to the door, or if there's anywhere I could sit her down and just say, I'll get you a glass of water, all right? And then can I sort of see out into the hallway, David and Alicia?
Yeah, I mean,
Alicia
pretty much. You can see those two over there,
Yeah, and I think I'd just sort of shout over and say, right, yes, that's right, Alicia, do tell us what's going on, because this is getting fucking mental. Tell us again about this red mark. The dabbler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is this his doing? Or is this something you were predicting? So he's who you're scared of?
So you can see in that moment that quite clearly David is unable to reply to this because he's in a border catatonic state, and Alicia clearly is aware of that even more. As you know, I think Alicia, how do you look back at your friend Ray? Or is he your friend? I don't know, but your one-time close companion from university days.
I look back and I sort of grimace and go, sort of expression of, maybe I'd probably even say, oh, what the fuck? What the fuck do we do, Ray?
I don't know. We need to get somewhere. Mel's gone with...
David? David!
Where's Mel gone? Oh.
Listen.
What?
When I was...
You hear Bridget coming up the stairs.
When I was texting Marie, I said, we're going to have dinner at David's, and then she said, and then all come here. I've got the table or something, so maybe we should go there.
Well, maybe we should. I mean, it's certainly not safe.
Didn't Angelica go with
Eric?
Mel?
Well, something's happened to Eric! And you hear running.
Shit.
And you hear running out to the front of the house.
I let go of David. I go, pull yourself together, David. Something's happened to Erik.
He sort of vaguely looks at you, and there's even a little bit of dribble coming out of his mouth, and you see him straining to kind of, and his lip flickers, and it starts to flicker really fast.
Ooh.
Almost as if there's a sort of...
This looks a bit like sleep paralysis or something.
Like he might be trying to fight breaking out of some kind of hold.
So I'm about to run downstairs to Erik, but then I turn to Ray and go, they've got him. They've got him trapped. He's trapped behind some sort of like gears or something. We've got to shake it off.
You can see his chest starts to glow.
Try and wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your fingers.
His chest starts to glow, and it's slightly off to the left-hand side. And now it's that sort of goldish, but it's getting deeper and deeper into a sort of deep yellowy orange.
I put my hand on it.
Whoa. Okay.
Oh shit.
Give me a power roll.
Oh God.
Alicia, what are you doing? Fucking hell.
Slow the fuck down, dude. It's not 4th base.
This is like 7th base.
This is like 25th base.
Hang on, bear with me.
It's the excitement as you reach down.
I think as I do shout, Alicia! What? But I won't have time.
Regular success, 39 on a 55.
Nice. Okay. You feel this pulse and wave of power. And you feel this tingling in your scar. Were you using your scarred hand? Yes, probably because it's dominant hand, so I'm thinking luck is.
Yep.
And you feel this pulse and tingling in the scar that, I mean, it's only just recovered from feeling like it was really, not just stinging, like somebody had stabbed you with a knife. But you master it. And in that moment, he locks eyes with you and he goes, I must set us
free.
And he starts to sink into unconsciousness. And you
Don't prompt him.
You say free, and at that point, as he falls, he falls in this clearing. There's snow coming down in this clearing, and you're looking around. There's woods around you, and you can feel cool air on your face, and you're dressed in this long, dark robe with black cloak, and you've got heavy hands. And this man's like, he's bearded, and there's blood on his face, and his hat's off, and there's a bandage around him, and he's looking at you, and he's going, "You must set us free. We cannot hold the Prince of Air." And then you realise he's dying. This man is dying in front of you.
Oh, Christ. Oh, bloody hell. I try and do some first aid or something.
You kneel down and you realise you are a man.
Bloody hell.
As you do this, you're like, you're a strong, tall, broad-shouldered man, and you are trying to do first aid, but all of your instincts seem to be very different to Alicia's instincts. And there's this sort of weird shaking that starts to take over you as you realise you want to check his pulse and see if if that's where the bleeding is. But he seems to be seems to be doing weird things, like going for the guy's liver or like looking in his mouth, and it's just not making sense to you. And you realise you're fighting could you give me either? Well, could you give me a roll? Do you feel like there might be a skill that could help you here?
So it sounds like you're going to say I'm fighting a memory. Is that what it's like?
I don't know. Maybe if you're thinking that, then maybe you should do something that
an echo. What kind of role could I do here? Let's see. Maybe
finding another mind. Psychology.
Occult.
Persuade.
Do occult or
all good. Yeah. Would you like to try and? I mean, she has some occult, doesn't she? She has some occult experience. This feels like it could be an occult experience. I'd buy that as just as much as anything else you might be wanting to.
I think I'd either go with, in terms of min-maxing my best options. I think
definitely.
I'd either go with occult or I'd be trying to intimidate person and tell them come on, you can do this, you can survive this, pull yourself together. Or I'd be using history to
understand the environment and the dress and the way he's dressed and well, I'll take any of those, whichever one you would prefer.
History.
Yeah. So you're going to try and ground yourself in what can I see, what are the objects. Well, I think the first thing that you will light on is he wears a pistol at his belt, which is definitely a flintlock. and he wears a broad buckle on his now toppling off hat, which looks puritanical. And certainly the only colour on him is this white blood-stained, those sort of widespread. It's not a rough, glamorous Italian ruff or anything like that. It's the widespread collar, now stained with blood, and there seems to be a bit of black ichor maybe as well on that. So you can give me that history roll.
So we're looking sort of 16th century. Civil War kind of area.
Very much so, you would say.
Ooh, 49 on my 55, so a regular success.
A regular success, but that's all you need. You get this distinct impression that this is 1630s, 40s.
Oh, 70s.
And you are very sure this man is a Puritan. You're very sure that you are dressed in similar garb. And you get this intense flash of... You can't say why, but this one compound word flies out at you as you too begin to just lapse out of consciousness with the intensity of the engagement. Witchfinder. And then you slip away. But you slip away with a sense of triumph, continuing Alicia's sense of, if it's something to do with antiquity, she gets her fucking bargain.
Great.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The Madness of David's House.
Freaky.
The Madness of David's House
Freaky scenario.
is really funny, but I think all the giddy sort of hysteria came mainly from how fucking horrible it is, because it's so normal and so like old friends meeting up for dinner, but it's so not that, and it's just like
you can imagine they would go, it'll all be fine, we'll all just get together and it'll all be like it was. That's
and how
that
awkward
was his
those
big pitch for the scenario.
Yeah.
And then it's all gone Enfield Haunting / The Exorcist.
Yeah, ever so much, right? It's like, God.
Oh,
God.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Your mother cooks socks in Hull. The dyslexicist.
But I was pleased because you've said this a number of times, Dom, and it is hard to keep track of these things. Like the moving parts. It's like how many magic points are available?